Then, okay. Om Bhadram Karnebhi. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Tushtuvagam Swastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedah Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right. So in the last class, we actually have come up to 1.6, if I am correct. Yeah, 1.6 we started and completed actually. 1.6 we completed in Prashnopanishad. Yeah. So that 1.6 is Adi Athaditya Udayan Prachin Disham, that particular verse. Yeah, 1.6.
Sorry, 1.6, I don't know. Well, what do you mean by 1.6? Is
First
it
question.
sloka 9 or 6 or that's how one.
No, we are doing Prashnopanishad, Lataji.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
that.
Prashnopanishad,
So in that, query 1, the first question, query 1 will be there, yeah?
Okay. Yeah, query 1 is there. Yes, yeah.
In that query 1, we have come up to 6, 1.6,
Okay.
that's what.
All right, yeah, got it.
Yeah, okay. So just as a quick catch up for those people who did not attend before, as well as because there is a 2-week gap in between, we are actually seeing the first student who asked the question about what all, where from all these creatures have come about. So it is actually the first student called Kabandhi Katyayana. You have seen that Kabandhi Katyayana is the name of that particular student. And he has asked the Rishi Pippalada when his turn came, and they were asked, Master, where from these creatures are born? So the very meaning of Katyayana, what we said was, whose great-great-grandfather is still alive. The word meaning of Katyayana means whose great-grandfather is still alive. And Kabandha means one who is within the bandha, within the bondage. So he is actually, Ka means Prajapati, Bandha means he is part of that bondage associated with Praja. Praja is creatures. So his question also is more or less in line with his name. That's what we have discussed in the third verse actually, where it says that Katyayani Kabandha was asking where from these creatures have come. Why that question has come to him? Because he lives in a joint family whose great-great-grandfather is still alive, means there are so many uncles, aunts, and nieces and other relatives in and around who is coming and going. So he always had that doubt possibly as to where from so many jivas are getting born. And he's seeing obviously large family means there must be large cattle around him as well. There are many cows, bulls, etc., etc. So he's seeing that so many varieties of all these people are coming in. So where from they are coming? How the jivas are taking birth? That was his question. Now, after living with a particular student for more than a year, and the fact that he has already come with a background of Karma Yoga completed, kind of, and he is now looking for a higher knowledge from Pippalada. Obviously, Pippalada doesn't answer him directly that, okay, mother and father will get married, and once they get married, children will be born. That would have been the simplest answer. Obviously, that is not what the question meant to be. neither the Rishi is answering him directly in terms of biology. He is not really a biology class. This is actually a Vedanta class. So Pipalada goes a step above, and he starts from the creation process altogether. And we have seen in 4, Pipalada says that Prajapati is the Brahma. Brahmaji has decided to create he decided to create, and as part of the process, he has come out with the 2 entities called Prana and Rai. Prana, we know, is the vitality. Prana is the energy aspect which is there. Prana is the it is not a formless energy. Really, there is no form associated with prana. And Rai is a matter. Matter means there is a form associated with it. So name and form becomes part and parcel of the Rai. So he says that Prajapati first created only 2 entities. One is called prana, second one is called Rai. And between them, he expected that they will create many creatures, many ways. So not only the creatures really to start with, the prana and Rai are responsible for the entire creation, the divisions that we are seeing. That is how he mentioned in verse 4. So prana is obviously the dynamism that is there within the creation, the activity, the energy activity which is there in the creation. And Rai is the one which actually provides the girth associated with the creation, and it is the matter. Material aspect is called Rai. The intelligent aspect is called prana, as per him. Yeah? And Prajapati, normally what we see in other shastras being mentioned is that we have seen causal body associated with vasanas, the desires associated with that particular aspect, causal aspect of ignorance, etc. Then that will give rise to the subtle body in our case. And the subtle body is will have intellect, mind, and prana in terms of the 3 subtle entities that are there. Prana takes care of your senses, and as well as the prana takes care of your physiological functions within the body. And the gross body obviously is Annamaya Kosha, and that particular kosha will have the gross aspects of Rai, which are more prevalent. So that is what we have seen in terms of this. And he also said that these particular pairs that we talk about, prana and Rai is a pair. So prana becomes an amurtam, means that it doesn't have a form, and Rai has got murtam. So they become a particular pair associated. One is amurtam, other is murtam. So when you take a human being, there are certain aspects of human beings which are amurtam. Means, for example, our mind, thoughts, intellect associated with that, emotions. These are all formless entities, but they form part of me. I am not complete without my mind, intellect, and emotions associated with that, or intelligence associated with me, but they are all amurtam. And when there is a murtam, there is a form associated with me, which we call it as the human body associated with me. Yeah? So there is a murtam, there is amurtam, form and formless. And another aspect they said was that it can be compared to something like a sun and a moon. Yeah? Sun and a moon is a relative aspects for the same amurtam and murtam aspects. Means one which is inert is moon, one which is intelligent, one which provides that particular energy becomes the sun. Yeah? Sun and moon are one of the pairs, for example. Yeah? So what we said at that particular time when we did 4th verse was that the whole aspect of creation is divided into Mithuna Srishti. Mithuna means the pair Srishti, the creation of a pair. Then this particular creation we are looking at as the Prana and Rai. There is a Loka Srishti. Loka Srishti is the creation of the world associated with that. And then he goes to Kala Srishti, that is the creation of the time, how time got created. And fourth is called Anna Srishti. Anna means food, food, creation of the food. And the last one is called Praja Srishti. Praja Srishti, how creatures are born. So the question that came from the student was, how did creatures come about? But the Rishi is starting with Mithuna Srishti, then goes to Loka Srishti, then Kala Srishti, Anna Srishti, and Praja Srishti. That is how 5 different Srishtis were described by Rishi Pippalad. So in Loka Srishti, for example, in 1.5, Rishi Pippalada came out and said, Adityo havai prano, raireva chandrama, rairva etat sarvam, yan murtam cha amurtam cha, tasman amurtareva raihi. So he is now trying to describe what is this murtam and what is this amurtam. What is the with form and what is without form. And he is also telling that as far as the world is concerned, when we talk about prana and rai, we may think there are 2 different things, because even in us, we say that my mind is different from my physical body, because mind controls the body in a way. But really speaking, the prana and rai that we are talking about, not really, they are so different or separate, like how we try to visualize, how we try to experience. They are like kind of a kind of 2 entities which are interchangeable. So the matter becomes energy, energy becomes matter. That is how the description is being given. So he says the entire world of creation, although I am telling it is prana and rai, everything can be seen as the rai. So in first 1.5, he is converting everything in as a matter. How is that possible? He is telling, for example, our own mind is there. What is mind? Mind is nothing but our thoughts. What are thoughts? If you go a little bit deeper into what are thoughts, thought is nothing but a visualization of the physical world I am bringing in through the sense organs. So if I'm seeing a bottle in front of me, if I'm seeing a telephone in front of me, if I'm seeing a laptop in front of me, for example, the laptop is not experienced outside. The laptop or a bottle or this one is experienced inside my own mind. So when I talk about as a thought, thought is nothing but an object which has come in the form of a thought in my mind, and I experience my bottle in my mind. I experience the laptop in my mind. I'm not really experiencing anything outside. So everything that I am talking about as the thought is nothing but a murtam. Although thought by itself is amurtam, it is formless, but what I experience is with form. So he's telling that there is no real difference in terms of my amurtam and murtam when it comes to the human thoughts. It is exactly the same. I experience the same form, but that form is inside me. So the form actually becomes a matter. So every thought that I'm having is nothing but a matter which is outside. And this matter in the form of a thought, I am experiencing. So everything that I'm thinking as amurtam and murtam, everything can be defined as a matter. So how he is converting, you see, E is equal to mc square, Einstein came out with that. But really speaking here, we are talking that there is no difference between matter and the prana and rai. They are interchangeable in that sense as far as our experience goes. Every thought must reflect a matter which is outside. That is how the Rishi is seeing this. And sun, if you take that as the sun and the moon, they are taken as examples. Yeah. So sun is prana, moon is rai, matter associated with that. So if you take that, because of the things that are we can relate to, sun becomes the energy aspect. Sun becomes the prana aspect. Very easy for us to visualize that. And moon, obviously, because it is an inert substance which is there, and it actually reflects only a sunlight, it doesn't have a light of its own. This matter is without the moon will be a matter associated, rai associated with that. And we know that moon is the deity of the mind. Yeah, moon is the deity of the mind, and Prajapati manifests as both the energy and matter. So the idea of all these particular examples that we give, that sun and moon, etc., is nothing but what we talk it as the upasana. The upasana that we talk about in this means we take whatever is common points between the two aspects which are there and try to say that, okay, I don't know what prana is there in terms of what prana, if suppose somebody says prana is energy, how do I visualize prana as energy? I don't know. I have never seen prana, I have not experienced prana in that sense, because it's as a term. I know life is there, sentiency is there in me, that I experience. But is it the same prana that we are talking about? I don't know. So if suppose something like that comes through, then we say, okay, take an example. Take sun as the prana. So upasana always is something I know, I try to superimpose on something I don't know to understand the nature of that particular aspect. So the prana rai aspect is being told that it is similar to a relation between a sun and the moon. So that examples are given here in terms of this.
Okay,
So in one
Shankarji, okay. Couple of things. I was reading about this commentary on this shloka, and the only thing that stuck in my mind is that it is explaining about the time, about the culture.
Which one is this? 1 point?
The sixth one. Yeah.
We are coming
the one
to
you
that.
were describing, it just shows because the sun moves from one to another, it is showing just the time, just the progress of the day and night, right?
Correct.
So, okay, that is one thing. And second thing is that in explanation, it mentions on this page 52 in my book, is that Brahmana. What Brahmana? Twice. I do not know what does Brahmana mean. Is it Prajapati? Is this who's talking? Like in this, it says on page 52 and second paragraph, second stanza, it says on fourth line, we find a distinct quality and texture of imagination unparalleled anywhere else. We have in this Brahmana a description of how the sun is really the presiding deity of the prana or vitality, by the touch of which a lifeless bundle of carbon, whatever, is like gets active. That's one. And following is that first line, as the sun rises in the east, the Brahmana goes on explaining how, what is this Brahmana? Is this the rishi, or is this what?
Okay. So Brahmana, as I mentioned, the entire Upanishadic knowledge, if you take into it, Mohiniji, we said it can, the concept is divided into Brahmanas and Aranyakas. Means the Upanishad which comes in the
section of
Brahmana
the
section.
Upanishad? Okay.
That particular texture is that particular.
Okay, now I got
Brahmana.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So Brahmana, when he is referring to Prashnopanishad. This text is being referring to.
Okay. So the Rishi is not taking it upon himself.
Correct.
Was saying
quoting.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
In fact, here it is not even Rishi who is doing it, because it doesn't come in the verse. It is Gurudev who is in the commentary is telling that this Brahmana, this Prashnopanishad is telling you this particular. He is giving explanation for that.
Okay.
It is Gurudev's word.
Yeah. And we cannot question him, because in the beginning, in this introduction, he says that the words cannot explain. You have to go deep down.
Correct. Correct.
So, we cannot question that now.
We should always question, but try to understand why he is telling that. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So this 1.6, as you started, he talks about that sun rising in the east Prachim Disham is the east associated with that. Pravishantiten Prashan Pranan. So as he rises in the east, he gathers all the pranas that are there in the east, in this one. And when that light travels into the southern, western, northern, above, below, in between, everywhere, it says that it thrills the creatures with its rays. Means it spreads the prana. The entire idea that we have seen is the life that we see on this earth is sustained by the energy that comes from the sun. But here, Upasana, where this comes is, if you really see scientifically, if you look at the sun, it is nothing but you can say that it's only a particular light that is coming through the sun rays onto the face of the earth. Where is this energy coming into picture? But really speaking, when we talk about Upasana, we are connecting the sun and equating it to the prana. How we are equating it to the prana means what our Shastras are telling is prana is the one which actually makes the inert body, inert material appear sentient, and the action is possible because of the prana. Similarly, what we see when the sun rays happens, all the creatures which were sleeping in the night as such get up in the morning and they start the action associated with that. Or if you take even plant life, for example, it is only the sun rays when it falls, the photosynthesis is possible and it starts manufacturing food, sustains it, the growth happens. So everything happens, the action happens in this world, mainly after the sunrise happens, is what is the observation. And hence he says that prana also provides the action, and here the sun is providing the action. So I am equating the prana with the sun and I do upasana on the sun. That is how the sun and the moon aspects come into the picture here. Okay. So we will read the 1.7 now. Yeah. Sa esha Vaishvanaro Vishwarupaha. Okay. Sa esha Vaishvanaro Vishwarupaha Prano Agnir Udayate Tadetadru Tadetad Richa Bhyuktam Tatetad Rucha Bhyuktam. So is here Sa Eshaha. Sa Eshaha. Then Saha is he. Eshaha, this Vaishvanara. So a new term is being introduced here, which says that Vaishvanara means what? That universal life force that is there is called Vaishvanara. Vaishvanara. And this Vishwarupaha is the universal form. We have heard the word of Virat, yeah. And as far as the human body is concerned, we said Vishwa, Tejasa, and Prajna. There are three bodies associated with our experiencing this world: Vishwa, Tejasa, and Prajna. These terms we have used before. So this Vaishvanara is kind of a universal form that we are talking about, becomes Vaishvanara. Sum total, the total of all the waking state egos in the world put together will become Vaishvanara. So this Vaishvanara is supposed to be, it's like a god, you know, everywhere he is there, within the bodies associated. Pranaha, and he's talking about Agni. Agni is fire. We all know that Agni is fire. Udayate, he raises. Rising of the sun is called Udayate. Tat etat. This Rucha, by the Rik Veda, let us say Rik Veda. Rik is a term that is used to indicate that Brahman. Rik Veda, Abhyukyate, is described. See, he is talking about, because we are talking of gross body here, yeah, creatures, how creatures are born was the question, remember that. And we are looking at the sun and moon aspects to understand the prana and rai. So this Vaishvanara it means he is the total of all the living beings, as I mentioned, put together is called Vaishvanara. And prana is the fire that rises every day. Now, where this prana rises every day? It is not that prana, we are talking of sun rises in the sky, but where prana is rising means every day morning when you get up, when the sun comes up and you get up, the hunger that you feel in the stomach becomes a Vaishvanara. So when you talk about, if you give food to, you start eating food, for example, any food that you are eating can become a part of your yajna. If you say that Vaishvanara in me is rising and I am offering food to that particular Vaishvanara. So that's why when we eat something, we say that, okay, we are offering. It's not really eating, we are offering. To whom? It is the Vaishvanara, the fire of Vaishvanara inside. We offer the food associated. So every eating that we become becomes a yajna for me. So I don't eat anything and everything. I eat things that are pious and pure, and only I offer it to the God inside. So raising of Vaishvanara is raising of the hunger associated. We can take it that way. Again, as I mentioned, the sun and the prana is being equated here, and the terms that are used are being used. So in a waking state, Vaishvanara happens to be the sum total of all the living beings. But living beings, when they're sleeping, when they are in deep sleep or dreaming, doesn't really have that type of a understanding of the life. Only when we are awake, all our senses are working 100%. Yeah, including mind, intellect, everything works 100% only in the waking state. So Vaishvanara is recognized in the waking state of the people, not in the dream or sleep states, because Vishwa is the waking state identification that we see. So when sun is equated to prana here, without sun, no activities in the earth is possible. Similarly, without the prana, no activities are possible within the human body. So he is bringing out from that everybody. These are common aspects for every living being that is being talked about. Every citizen represents the concept. It is like, when we talk about a country, how do you really define a country? Geographically, some landmass may be there, but really it becomes a country only when every citizen feels that this is a particular country. So if I feel this is Canada, I am a Canadian, then Canada assumes a significance. If people don't think it is a country, then the country, despite being a geographical entity, will not have any real meaning associated with that. Similarly, every person that is there, every human being, every jiva, every being that is there, only when they feel that they are associated with a particular this one, it becomes a being, a human being, a race of human beings that comes about. If every human being feels that I am a human being, yeah, so it is experienced like that. So at a samashti level, at a totality level, all the living beings put together then becomes this Vaishvanara. Yeah. Obviously, this Vaishvanara concept is amurtam. It doesn't have a form associated with that. Human being has got a particular form of Vishwa, but when we call about Vaishvanara, it is actually without a form. Yeah, it is the amurtam. It is the without any form, the subtle aspect of being a living being becomes a Vaishvanara. Whereas gross body is Virat. Why I'm telling, we hear these words, we must know what they exactly mean. Virat is the Murtam, the physical aspect becomes Virat. So when Krishna gave the Virat Swarupa to Arjuna, he actually physically saw him, a huge person, and you have these Duryodhana, everybody, Karna, everybody coming out of his out and going, entering into the mouth of Krishna, a huge Virat Swarupa that we talk about. There, it is purely a physical. Murtam aspect is called Virat, whereas Vaishwanara is Amurtam. He doesn't have any form, but he is equivalent to all of them put together. Yeah. And here we talk about prana is fire. Means fire is the digestive fire that we talk about, is Vaishwanara, a representative aspect that we are talking about. Yeah, becomes a Vaishwanara. The fire is Agni, yeah? And again, this is particular thing is called prana upasana. What are we doing here? We are doing prana upasana. We are telling prana is there. I don't understand what is prana. If somebody says, I am telling the prana can be still amortam. Where do we experience? Every day in the form of hunger, every being will experience that. Means what? Prana is there, that prana is being experienced by everybody, not only me separately or you separately, but every being will have this particular prana experienced in the form of Vaishvana. Again, so this is prana upasana. What are we doing? In any upasana, the individuality of a person is taken down and we see the commonality aspects of the things everywhere. Why is it required? Because I want to break this individuality. In my meditation, I want to get rid of this limitation of me being Gauri Shankar, me being Lataji, me being Mohiniji. I want to break this. I want to say that I am everywhere. I am that undivided oneness, which we call it as Brahman. So how do I break that? I have to see commonality between everybody. I don't want to see divisions. I don't want to see variations. And this particular aspect is called upasana. So in upasana on the sun, for example, what I am trying to say, that it is the same sun who is giving the energy to everybody, whether it is east or west or down, north or south or down or up or all locations, everywhere when we talk about, what we are seeing is we are seeing the common aspects that are there so that I can link, I can relate to the entire world as being. Suppose once we understand that it is sunlight which is sustaining everybody, means what? Sunlight is the one which is making you what you are. If suppose there is no sunlight and there is no growth, there is no food associated to me, I die within a 20-day period, maybe a 30-day period. I don't know how long I can survive, but I go. But if I am growing, if I am sustained for 50 years, 70 years, 90 years, 100 years, what it means, it is sun which is actually sustaining. Means sun is the one living in me. Although I am thinking I am different, but the same sun is making everyone live, everyone grow, everybody sustain. Means actually it is the sun which is there everywhere. I am thinking I am me, me, me. It is not me, it is sun everywhere. So I see the sun everywhere and I say that I am sun, everything is sun. So I am the oneness associated with this. So it's called upasana. Breaking the individuality and building upon the totality is what upasana will do. And that is what is being suggested here. So the Surya, fire, digestive fire. You take it any of them, you say, I am either doing upasana on the sun or I am doing upasana on the prana. That is how the Rishi is building up the where from creatures have come. So he doesn't want to say that you have come from your father and mother, you are very, very individual. He is not talking about that. He wants to see the totality first, and then he will come down to the individual aspect. So that individuality is not lost, it is not divided. He always sees the oneness that is there everywhere. And he says that there is a Rigveda mantra to support this as well. See, all Brahman Upanishads, all Prakarana Granthas, they depend on Upanishads to support what they are telling. Yeah, we have seen this already. Any Prakarana Grantha, for example, quotes the Upanishadic Vakyas. So here also, Brahmana Upanishad is quoting the Rigveda mantra associated with this. And there is a Rigveda mantra associated with this as well. He's telling like that. So 1.8 we will read. Yeah. Any questions on this? Is it becoming too complex?
It's, I think you have to read the explanation, what Swamiji says.
Okay.
It probably make a little bit more sense.
All right.
No, you tried to explain it well, but I think unless we keep on rereading and it will hopefully register in our mind.
Agree with you. Yeah. So yeah, I think a little bit of homework is definitely required. So before next class, we should read whatever we have covered in this and try to absorb. And if you have any questions with respect to that, we can take it up first before continuing with the lesson. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 1.8. 1.8 is a Rigveda mantra. So he is quoting from Rigveda now. Yeah, the Rishi is quoting from Rigveda. Vishwarupam Harinam.
Vishwarupam Harinam.
Jatavedasam.
Jatavedasam.
Parayanam Jyotirekam.
Parayanam Jyotirekam.
Tapantam.
Tapantam.
Sahasrashmi.
Sarasrashmi.
Sahasrashmi.
Sahasrarashmi.
Shatadha.
Satada.
Vartamanaha.
Vartamanaha.
Pranaha.
Pranaha.
Prajanam.
Prajanam.
Udayastyesha.
Udayateshaha. Yeshaha.
Suryaha.
Suryaha.
So here the Rigveda mantra is being quoted as I mentioned. And here the Rigveda also is the Rishi is telling, is comparing the sun. Suryaha is the sun. Yeah, Suryaha, sun. Udayanti, the raising. Prajanam, the creatures associated. The last one I am reading first. Yeah, Vishwarupam, the universal form. Vaishwanara that we have seen. Rigveda mantra is quoting it as Vishwarupam. Harinam. Harinam is full of rays. The sun rays that we are talking about, similarly full of rays, is called Harinam. Jata Vedasam. Jata Vedasam. Veda is knowledge. Jata Vedasam is the knowledge associated with that. Yeah. And Parayanam is the basis for all life, is this prana. Coming from the sun, the prana is the basis for the entire life, is what Rigveda mantra is also telling. He says, Ekam, oneness, Tapantam, the one who gives the heat. Yeah, one who gives the heat, Tapantam. Tapantam is that. And that Tapantam is the Surya, sun associated with that. Sudhiyaha Vijnatavantaha means the knowers who understand. The people who are knowledgeable accept that this entire life that we are seeing on the earth is coming from the rays that are coming from the sun. That is how it is being talked about. And Vartamanaha, existing pranaha. That prana that is coming there in each of these creatures, that is Prajana. All the creatures, the prana you are seeing is the result of the thousands of rays of the sun that are coming, is how the Rigveda mantra is also quoting. So what he is trying to say is, me comparing prana with the sun is not without basis. Even Rigveda mantra actually is talking exactly about the similar symbolism, is how the Rishi is justifying him spending 2 or 3 verses on comparing the sun with the prana. Okay. So sun is considered as life of all creatures. Basically, that is what the Rigveda mantra is also telling, he says. Okay. Now, next verse, 1.9, we move into something we call it as Kala Srishti. Kala is the time associated, and we are looking at the Kala Srishti in 1.9. Yeah. Samvatsaro vai
Samvatsaro vai
Prajapatihi
Prajapatihi Pati
Prajapatihi
Prajapatihi
Tasyayane
Satyayane
Dakshinam
Dakshinam
Chottaram cha
Chautaram Cha
Tadhyeha vai
Tatyeha vai
Tad Ishtapurte
Tadishta Pote
Kritam
Krutam
Ityupasate
Nityupasate
Te Chandrama
Te Chandrama
sorry Te Chandramasam
Te Chandramasam
Eva
Eva
Lokam
Lokam
Abhijayante
Avijayate
Sa Eva
Eva
Punaravartante
Punaravartante
Tasmadeta
Asmadeta
Rishayah
Rushayaha
Prajakama
Prajakama
Dakshinam
Dakshinam
Pratipadhyante
Pratipadante
Yesha vai
Esha vai
Rairyah
Rahiyara Rayira
Rairyah
Rayira
Pitruyanah.
Rituyanaha.
So now that the sun, moon, etc. have been brought about, here Rishi is talking about the time aspect. So time aspect, when you take about, one of the easiest and best way to understand time is what we call as the year. Year is Samvatsara. So the verse starts with Samvatsara.
Are you closing 11:15 or going beyond?
What is the time now?
11:13.
11:13.
Yeah,
Why you want to be closed or?
I think so. I think so. I have to go.
You have to go somewhere.
Okay, if
Okay,
you
we
want to
can stop
continue,
at
I
11.
can.
I have to
No,
go
no, it's
to.
okay. No, it's okay. We can close here. Another 1 minute. I will give a quick understanding of this. We'll continue with this in the next class. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Samvatsaro vai Prajapatihi. Samvatsara is the year that we are talking about. Yeah. And here he brought about something called Dakshinam Ayanam. Dakshinayana and Uttarayana. There are two, the year is divided into Dakshinayanam and Uttarayana. So here he talked about that entire Prajakamaha Dakshinayane. So everything is being talked about from the Dakshinaya aspect. So there are some people who follow Dakshinayana, and he says such people actually go to a place called Chandraloka. And these Chandraloka people, after spending some time in the Chandraloka, Punaravartante, they will come back into this world as in a different physical bodies. So they take birth again. So that is how the Rishi is talking about this Dakshinayana Uttarayana. In fact, it happens that the January 15th, when we talk about Sankranti, the next half of the year actually starts here. We are moving into Uttarayana phase. Uttarayana is supposed to be a more good time, really speaking. Bhishma, for example, waited for Uttarayana to die. In the Mahabharata war, he laid on this one for more than 52 days, some say 92 days. And then he died after Uttarayana came into because it is supposed to be more auspicious. We will see, but those people who follow Dakshinayana, he says, actually go back to Chandraloka, and they go to Chandraloka, and after some time, spending some time, it says, the verse says, they come back, and this particular path that we talk about, Ayanam is path, is called Pitru Marga, Pitruyana. Means Pitru is our parents. So whoever parents have gone there, they have come back in different forms. We are also following the cycle of this. Birth and death is how the aspect is being talked about. We will take it up in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnavasishyate. Om Shanti
Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om, Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
All right. We will assemble.
Today is the first day of Uttarayan, 15th January. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shankarji.
Thank you, ShankarJi. It's good to see everyone.
Yes.
Good to see you too. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Bye.